Hi brothers, welcome back to my channel for another new review on the figure you see in front of you. It's the Captain America, the Winter Soldier, stealth strike suit version of Captain America. And I can tell you, it's a beauty. As you can see from the box, it is the twin pack featuring Steve Rogers. So we'll get that rotating now. I'll show you both figures are stood on the turntable and we'll see them come round. I'll start off with me thank yous. Massive shout out to Anthony Sang, or Budget Stark, you may know him as. Friend of mine, has been a friend of mine now for about 6 months. Pretty much my exclusive figure supplier now. Gets me the stuff that I want nice and early, gets them to me really fast, and we'll do the same for everybody that asks. Also want to mention, because I've always sort of promoted him as someone who can find your figures, or a seller, or whatever you want to call it, but I think he's recently passed 1,500 subscribers, so I think it'd be more, I don't know, I think it'd be more benefit to him if I were to promote his YouTube channel more than promote him as someone that can get hold of your figures. So I just want to say, once you've watched this review, if you go across to his channel and subscribe, check out his videos, because he does put some really interesting videos showing us things fresh from Hong Kong that most of us wouldn't see. And yeah, he's a great member of the community, and I'm certainly proud to call him a friend. Massive thanks to him for sending me these figures. I will go over what I said in the unboxing, and said my initial idea was just to get the Captain America, and I thought I'll just always have it displayed with a mask on, just in a pose similar to I've got it there. I'm not too bothered about the Steve Rogers. I don't see the benefit of it. But then when, as the time come closer, Anthony said to me, look, the twin pack will be out first, because you know how Hot Toys do it. If you don't get the double pack, you're going to miss out on the Steve Rogers head sculpt. You're going to miss out on the empty mask, and obviously the options that having both brings. And in end, I thought, yeah, he's probably right. If it's a case that I get the twin pack and I find that I didn't want it, then I thought, well, I can always sell it and then come back and get the just the Captain America. But I've got to say, I'm really glad I did get these. Massive shout out to him for sending them, man. I am buzzing to receive them. So I am going to score it up. I'm going to give you my thoughts on both figures, but I am going to do it as one set. So what I mean by that is, like I did with the Robocop with the mechanical chair, I did review it as one figure, so to speak, with really good extras, obviously the chair being the extra. I think I'm going to do the same thing here. I don't want to review them as two separate figures. I'm going to do it as the set. So what I'm saying is, the scores on this will be totally different to if I'd have just reviewed the Captain America on its own. But like I said, that might happen in the future, but I'm not sure that it will now that I've got this set. So I think before we roll on and start scoring it up, I think if we stop it and I'll just show you Captain America first. See, got him posed, head down, shield on his back, looking quite nice. Bit of an hero pose, quite statuesque, looking really nice. And then also, if I bring Steve Rogers round, I've had more questions about Steve Rogers than any review that I've had coming about, is the likeness good, have they changed the prototype. When I get to the likeness, I will cover my thoughts. So at the end of this review, you will know exactly what I think of this figure, because I have seen a lot of nitpicking already. A lot of people saying that they'd ordered it and now they've cancelled it, and I guarantee them same people will pop back up after this review goes up and say, I've reordered it now, you were right what you said. It happens all the time. I'm not blaming my own home, but I think sometimes people just need that little shove to buy a figure that they know they really want. So that shows you both figures. So like I said, I'll get them rotating again. Watch them come round. And I'll talk you through my thoughts on the source material, which shouldn't take long, because I have reviewed the Winter Soldier himself and the Golden Age Captain America from this film, and I scored both of them a 3 out of 5, which is what I'm going to score it again. I think the film is enjoyable. I think there is some very boring sequences in it also. I think it sort of got caught between a Marvel film and sort of one of the Jason Bourne films, which I didn't really think it needed to be, but I do understand it in the general scheme of thing. They had to show sort of the fall of S.H.I.E.L.D., because if they didn't, then we're constantly going to see the same film over and over again where there's nobody that's a match for S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Avengers. So I do understand why they did it. It's like I said, I went to the cinema to see it and I've still not bought it on Blu-ray. Now that tells me that it's not a film that I'd be in a rush to watch again. I have got a downloaded copy on my computer, so I do watch bits and bobs, particularly to just refresh myself on the figures I'm going to receive. But like I say, it's not a film that I would go out and spend like 15 quid on a Blu-ray version and rush to watch again. I suppose when the special offers come on, or you can get Thor 2 and Captain America 2 for price of one, so to speak, then I would buy it again, because it is enjoyable, like I said, but it's not as good as everybody else says it is. So on the source material again, and I know I'm going to get some bullshit on this, but I'm not scared, because people say Winter Soldier's best Marvel film ever. I'll say no, it's not, because Avengers is better and Iron Man 1's better, so that's just 2 off the top of my head. So yeah, they're my thoughts. I've given it a 3 out of 5. Rolling on to the packaging, or the presentational box. It is basically just a double-sized shoebox, opens just by lifting the lid off. The cover artwork is pretty nice, I will say. It does show both versions of the figure inside, and he is holding up the more so battle damaged shield. You do obviously receive 2 shields, the other one being on Captain America's back, as you can see. So yeah, the artwork is pretty nice. I will go out on a limb and say I do prefer the Captain America only box. I've seen that because that got released I think yesterday, and I do prefer the shot on the front cover of that, although this one is quite nice. And obviously again, Hot Toys have stood by the strength of the figure, because it is a shot of the figure on the front and not a movie still. There's no artwork of any note on the back, so I have just lifted the lid and just show you the inlay slip. Again, Hot Toys are loving the strength of the sculpts, and I can understand why. I personally don't think it has been changed too much from the prototype shot, so I just wanted to give you a nice close-up on that, and hopefully you remember it when I show the sculpt, when I do the likeness next. And also I wanted you to note on the Captain America, the figure for me has got 2 nitpicks, one of them being the strap. Just notice that the strap colour that goes under his chin on the shot is a brown colour, very similar to the strap there in his belt. So I do like the inlay artwork, I do like the box artwork, but again, it is just a shoebox style, so you already know I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 and tell you that the 2 figures are housed side by side in a double layer clam that is plastic. There's no foam inlay on this one, it's not a DX, but like I said, quite presentational, very functional, but only scores a 3 out of 5. Right, moving on to the likeness, and I'm going to score this as a combined likeness. So if one head sculpt, for example, was really strong, but the other one had a weak point, I would basically average it out and give you the likeness for the best sculpt for the set, so to speak. So I'm going to start with the Captain America masked face. I will start off by saying that this has pretty much always been the Captain America, or closest to the Captain America version that I wanted. It's sort of the more grown-up look, and by that I mean, if Captain America were real and he were alive and well today in 2014, I think his suit would be something like this. Not the Avengers one, which would be too blue, too fancy, the really red highlights. I think because it's got a stealth feel and it's sort of, I don't know, it's sort of grounded in reality, I do like that about it. It's got a very, I don't know, very special ops feel about it. Same with the mask. I do like the visible ears. I've always sort of liked that look from the comics, sort of going, it's not the ultimate Captain America, but is it the Marvel Alliance, something like, I can't remember the name of the comic books, but from the visible ears, sort of the panelled helmet section, looks very modern day, and I do like it. I did say at the start of the review that I had a couple of nitpicks with the figure, one of which is the light brown or caramel coloured strap that goes around his chin. I think on the production shots it were a lot closer brown to the strap and the belt, and even the brown that's used on the glove, and even that for me is a little bit light, but it does give a good leather effect. But I just think the one under the chin, it's sort of too close to his skin tone, so it's as if from a distance it looks like he's not really got a strap under the chin. So one thing I will definitely be changing on this is I will be getting a brown paint and acrylic and giving that a browner wash, give it a more leather look. That's the only one of the nitpicks. Now Another thing that I noticed, I think on the production shots, I think the A on the helmet is more silvery or a whiter. In hand, it's got like this metallic blue wash. So I understand it's for stealth, so lower visibility. So it does make sense, but just sort of differentiating between the production shots and the final release, I do think that is a difference as well. But like I said, I do like the helmet design. I think that you can see that something like that sculpt has just been masked for this head. It is similar to the other versions, but that's not a weakness for me. But like I said, the only niggly nitpick with it would be the colour of the strap underneath. But it is a really, really strong one, and as good as any other Captain America, I feel. Not got the daft expression on his mouth. He's got like quite a neutral look. Nice depth in the eyes. Awesome paintwork, as Hot Toys do. And yeah, I really like it. I also like the fact that it's a sculpted neck and head, because you don't get the messy joint just under the ear. So yeah, I do really like it. Moving on to the Chris Evans or the Steve Rogers sculpt. Now, people seem to really like the production shots of this, but the in-hand photos or the release photos, people are sort of talking it down a little bit. So I see, saying they've changed it and they've changed it for the worse. I don't see it. I think it is the production shot. Obviously, I'm not a professional cameraman or a professional photographer, so my lighting or shades is not going to be like we saw on the production shots. We've got to remember they are done by professionals. Now I think, and I'll go out on a limb with this and say, I believe it is the best Chris Evans sculpt today. And I have checked back over the last couple of days to see the other ones available. So on the rescue version, the version we got with the Avengers, even down to the ones, the masked ones, and I'm sort of trying to work out underneath the mask which would be most accurate. I feel this is the Chris Evans sculpt or Steve Rogers sculpt to have. That is just my opinion. I think they've got the hair colour right. It is sort of a brown, but I don't know if my camera will pick this up. I've sort of got a goldy blonde wash through it, like a dry brushing technique through the hair, and the sculpt on the hair is really good, even down to the sideburns and also round the back. I'm not going to move it because he's in quite a balanced pose, but yeah, I'm trying to keep moving around because obviously the shadows will change and then you'll get it from an angle. I think from some angles it's 100%, and some, at its worst, I would still say it's 95% accurate. So it is a really, really nice addition, and I think if this set is the only thing that's going to bring that head sculpt, then it sort of makes it worthwhile. So on the likeness, for me, I'd have to give it a 5, and probably both sculpts would get it that. Like I say, I wish that the strap under the chin were a little bit darker, but mine will be very soon. But other than that, I don't know, I don't see many problems with it. So I'm happy to give them a 5 out of 5 for facial likeness. Rolling on to the outfits, and I've not gone to extreme poses because I do want to show you around both figures. So we'll start off with the easy one first, the Steve Rogers. Again, just got him slightly looking upwards, just catch the light on his face. He does consist of this blue zip-up jacket, which, if when you see the picture you think, yeah, pretty standard, which is what I thought. I've seen jeans before, I've seen these cowboy boots, I've seen jackets and white t-shirt and everything. But then, you know, when you touch it and you think to yourself, oh, it feels better than it looks. That's the case with all this outfit. It is a really nice material, which beggars the question, why didn't you use that material on that suit? And I'll explain that more in a minute. Now, as you can see, it's got a full working zip, which does work pretty nicely. To say I'm trying to do it with my left hand. So you can have that zipped up or down. Again, that's really nice. Nice, it's more like a lycra t-shirt. Although sometimes when you move his head down, it sort of gets squashed in the lower neck section, so you're positioning the t-shirt, but it is a nice feeling t-shirt. I will say as well, it's worth a mention, underneath the clothing on this is like a bodysuit, which gives it some kind of definition. It's not a massive bodysuit like the Godfather, where he's wearing a flat out fat suit. It's not like that. It's just sort of to cushion him, give him a pecs look and that sort of thing. But yeah, the tailoring on the jacket is really nice. It is sort of a mixture of like a satin feeling material, then the more textured here, as you can see. You see the different materials. Excellent cut and stitch as always. Nice working zip, like I said. Really nice. Moving down, good denim trousers with the fade in him. And as we move down, he's got the cowboy boots on, which obviously will sell out really fast for people's custom Rick Grimes. That is obvious. I will say I wish his sort of the bottom of his jean were a little bit wider, so it fell down onto the foot more naturally like Wolverine's do. But they do ride quite high, and it's sort of like, you know, when you say his trousers are flying at half mast, it gives that appearance. But it's not really a problem if you pull them right down. Does have a leather belt with a metal belt buckle. Again, nice touch. Very simple, but very well done. Really nice. Moving on to this, the more intricate outfit. Obviously the sculpted masked head, which I said is nice, apart from the chin strap. And then as we just move down it, I pick up on a few details, such as the Rogers on his sleeve, which is nice. The blue and silver Old Glory, or American flag. On this side, you've got the shield badge. Really, really well done. Now, the question everybody's going to ask with a Captain America, is it an articulated body? To answer that, yeah, and I'll come back to that in articulation. Does the suit into the articulation like every other Captain America? Yeah, big style. And I'll get round to why that is. First, I'll talk about the things I really like. I like the boot, which is a foot section, and then the shin guards, which do go on really nice. They have drawstrings at the bottom of the trousers, so if you pull it right down, tie it, it stops the trousers riding up. As you see on the trousers, some people have said his legs are too slim and he needs thigh extenders on. I stripped this figure down yesterday and he's got thigh extenders on. I wanted to see how the suit moved and to see if there any way that I could make it more articulated. And I'll cover that briefly. I don't want to be on this section for 15 minutes. So he has a trouser section, like I said, drawstring at the bottom, hard plastic knee pads. Now somebody sent me a message to say have my knee pads fell off. They haven't, and they don't feel like they're gonna. They do move around because, as you can see, the fabric on the suit is split into panels. So it has like an under material, and then the sections sort of with the detailing on is all different sections. They do have a side pocket, which or a side pouch, which do make it look puffed out at the top section, as you can see here and here. And the trousers are not baggy, but I will say loose, and I'm glad they are because it's got a double bend knee and they will double bend. Now, the belt doesn't move on the trousers like some of the other versions we've seen where people say, well, it's riding up and it's riding down. It always stays around the top of the trousers for a couple of reasons, and I'll try and explain why. If we look at the back, the release on the belt is there. So you pop that open, but the belt wouldn't come off because on the underside of this and the underside of this, there's another set of press studs that press stud it to the top of the trousers. So you couldn't pull the belt down because the press studs behind here and here hold it in place. So you pop off that, there, and the belt will come off. The trouser section then open at the fly with Velcro, and you can take them off. And that's how I know they've got thigh extenders. Another person said to me, does the upper body, when he's bending or crunching, does it constantly keep popping out of the trousers like the Avengers version used to? No, it doesn't. And the reason for that is this central bulletproof vest section, or body armor, whatever you want to call it, goes right down underneath the crotch, up his arse crack, and then there's two more press studs sort of inside here which attach it to the back of this, so it's a complete loop underneath him. So there's no way that you can pull the body section of the outfit up. So that is how that works. Now, if you remember the Golden Age version, it was sort of a set of sleeves that went inside this waistcoat section and then joined onto another. That's onto another section. That is the case with this as well. Now, here and here are two press studs. They pop open, they fold over his head, and then there's a zip that runs sort of from there all the way down him, and that is how you would unzip him. Now, you could unzip him to try and take that off, but I'd advise against it because there's no way that you can open it wide enough to get it over his shoulders. Now, his sleeves here and here join to what can only be described as a really thick balloon material that covers his body. It's blue, like really, really thick rubber that holds the sleeves in place. So like, if I can show you here, that material goes underneath the sort of the bulletproof vest material. So it's not all, that stitching there is not between both pieces. That goes to another bit of material. And then underneath that balloon rubber material is another padded bodysuit. So that's why the figure feels quite squidgy, because he's got layer on layer on layer. Now, this is nitpick number 2, and this is a bastard. And I'll show you on this arm. The cotton material on his arm pretty much feels like it's glued to the arm. It's really, really, really tight. And I don't want to sound like an American reviewer when I say really, really, really 1,000 times. It will hardly even rotate on his arm. That's how tight it is. And then what happens here is, as you see the stitching here, stitching at this section, then underneath there's this hard plastic sort of forearm guard, and then it all joins here. So what do you think happens when you try and articulate it? It gets to about there, and then the suit basically says, fuck off a minute, because you're not going no further. And that is the extent of the bend on the arm. Now, to rotate this up, I'm never going to do it left-handed. You've got to really get hold of the top section of the arm and twist it right up. It will move, but like the pose when I had him with his shield sort of over his shoulder, that is as high as it will go. So the upper arm articulation on this is pretty much non-existent. Very statuesque. The suit looks awesome, I will say. And because I am reviewing the style of the outfit, I am still going to give the clothing, because it is combined, I am still going to give it a 5 out of 5 on looks. But when I get to the articulation, obviously it's going to take a dint, because the suit just kicks the articulation's arse. And obviously you can see why. Like I said, there's padding in it and this sort of section here. But the body underneath on both versions is exactly the same. It's a double bend elbow, rotation at the upper bicep, and that sort of thing. But like I said, the suit on the arms is that tight. Articulation is pretty much a struggle. So like I said, on the design of the outfit, I'm giving it a 5 out of 5 for looks. Rolling on to articulation, or lack of, as far as Captain America's concerned. As you can see, Steve Rogers, not a problem. So moving up, I will start off, and this is going to be simple now, because on the strength of what I've just told you, where the outfit's concerned, you pretty much sussed it out. Both head sculpts are head and neck with a lower ball joint, and then it's both exactly the same body. Double bend elbow, quite a bulky true type, double bend knees, really nicely done. The only hindrance on the Captain America suit is around the elbow and sort of around the shoulders, but you'd sort of get to a bend like that if you wrestle with it, and at the top of the arms you've really got to swing on it. I will say as well, when I was moving that, I have actually, the hard plastic thing on there has become unglued, so that is going to want re-gluing onto there, so be careful. Not bad articulation on the waist. The knees, really nice. The ankle's really nice because it's a separate foot and shin guard. And then, like I said, other than the arms being really, really restricted by the suit, I don't know. Me personally, I would compromise the articulation on this figure for the look. Some I won't, but on a Captain America I will, because I know the suit has got to look very tight fitted, very military, and I know I'm going to lose some articulation. This one, no problems at all. As you can see, not even the fact that he's wearing cowboy boots really hindered the articulation on his ankles. Knees double bend, elbows double bend, lower ball joint on the neck, nice tight crunch, as you can see. So yeah, the articulation is good. The suit kills it a little bit. So taking an average over the two figures, like I said, the body on both is good, but you've got restrictions because of the outfit on the Captain America. So I'm going to give the articulation a 3 out of 5. Rolling on to extras and then straight into value. I just want to try and sort of work out the bang for the buck that you get. So in the words of Phone Jacker, Let's talk about monies! As of last week, obviously I know the price of this. I know it's been released as a single version now, just Captain America, and I know the roundabout price of that. Obviously, if you're going to buy it after this review, allow for the fluctuation and also the availability in Hong Kong, because that might push the price up or down, and obviously take into account the shipping to get to whichever country you're in. So, first things first, what do we get? As you see, I've got the Captain America now displayed with a Steve Rogers head, which is looking beautiful, I've got to say. I don't know if they're releasing Steve Rogers on his own, although they are releasing Captain America on his own. So you might only be able to get that head sculpt in this set. Same with the empty face mask, and I think same with that version of the shield. I think I'm right in saying that. I've not seen that the Steve Rogers is getting released on its own yet, but I could be wrong on that. So obviously, like I say, you get the mint looking figure. Really do like it. Like I said earlier, very statuesque, not one of the most posable figures you're ever going to get, but I think the recreation of the suit from movie to 1/6 scale is really, really well done. So yeah. As you see, he does have his own stand with a Captain America stealth strike suit on it, and obviously the Winter Soldier logo on the base. The masked head, or the helmet wearing head, you get the spread hands that are gloved, the gloved fists, and then the shield holding gloved hand, and obviously if you're holding the edge of the shield you would hold that one, and then the right pointing hand. You get the binding, I forgot what it's called, like the cuff, the magnetised cuff that does open and close. 2 sets of hand pegs. Then the clean version hands, we get relaxed, fists, shield holding, and then spread. Look at him. That's the body you get, and the spare outfit, or the second figure. He's stumbling around, he's got his feet, he's staggering, he's feeling for his head. He's like, fucking hell, where's my head gone? I feel like I'm in Odell's collection. That's not the case, you're in Uncle Clipper's collection, but I'm displaying your head on that figure just for effect. 2 die-cast shields. This one is exclusive, like I said, to this set. You can see where the red's coming off. It has really nicely textured that. Nice battle damage feel about it. I did try and scratch a bit of the red off to see if it would flake, and on this one it doesn't. So, nicely done. So, it's die-cast. And then you get the blue and silver stealth version die-cast shield again, which is really nice. The second stand with Steve Rogers on it. Obviously again, the Winter Soldier base. The clasp or the catch for holding the shield onto the back of the Captain America outfit. And then the instruction booklet, which is always worth a read. I also wanted to include the message that Anthony sent me. "I'm a happy 40th birthday. Enjoy, Anthony." Just a nice little message from him. I am 40 on 28th of November, so don't forget to make your payments direct to my PayPal account, yeah? All 3 figures, all that you want to send, it's all appreciated. Money, obviously, we'll spend everywhere, but well wishes will do. I'm only joking, like I say. I am 40 and I'm still collecting. Sad bastard, I know, but onwards and upwards. So yeah, when I first got it and I took it out, and I'm thinking, yeah, if you think your spare body's extra, and the spare head sculpt's exclusive, and the face mask exclusive, and you got 2 shields and blah 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 and all these hands, the value's awesome, because you're thinking £300 for this set or £200 just for the Captain America. So you're getting all them extra things for £100. I started thinking, yeah, definite 5 out of 5 for value. Then I started thinking about it a little bit deeper and thinking about it comparatively speaking. And I can't give it a 5 out of 5 for value, because like I said, it is £300. So that makes it £150 per figure if you want to work it out like that. You've pretty much got everything that's going to come with this version, which is nice. But I picked my Luke Skywalker up for about 220 quid, which also has 2 outfits, 2 head sculpts, 2 bodies, 2 diorama bases, the weather vane. So that's what stops me giving this a 5 out of 5. Although I am going to say, because the single version is £200 now, and everything you are getting for the extra £100, it is still pretty good value. And I think I would recommend I think I would recommend this version. Like I said, I initially just wanted Captain America, but it's nice to have the option of displaying him with that head, because I do honestly feel that that is the best Chris Evans head sculpt on the market. So, to give it scores, give you a numerical value, I'm going to say on the extras, I'm giving it a 5, because it does bring a lot of stuff. 2 heads means a lot. I will say this, I keep thinking that Steve Rogers should have something else, and I don't know what it is. And the reason I say that is because he's always going to be a spare figure. Because once you take that head off to use it with your Captain America, you can't really put that head onto there, because it just won't go. So, I don't know, it just gets a feeling of a spare clothed body. Now, I could use them clothes, I'm not gonna, you know what I mean, they're not wasted, but I just think to myself, I don't know if you bought the suit, would you display both together? I don't know. In fact, I probably won't, but like I say, I am glad I've got everything that it brings. So, I'm giving the extras a 5, I'm giving the value only a 4. Like I said, until I realised how cheap Luke were, I were giving it a 5. But like I said, I would still recommend this version over just the Captain America, because I think for the £100 extra, you're getting a lot for that £100. That's the point I'm trying to make. So, total scores, I've given it a 28 out of a possible 35, which is a really respectable score. Massive thanks to Anthony for sending it, mate. Massive thanks to you guys for watching my reviews again, and also eagerly waiting for my reviews. The more you guys know I've got a figure, I do get message on top of message on top of message. When's review going up? When is it? I need to watch something, blah, blah, blah. And it is nice, although it is a lot of pressure as well. So thanks guys for watching again. Keep spreading the word about my channel. Also, go and subscribe to Anthony's channel. I think he deserves it. I am going to cut out, and then I'm just going to come back in and show you the Captain America displayed with the Avengers, just to give you sort of an overall look, and also sort of a size comparison. So thanks for watching guys, but for now, I'm out of here.